Friends, we are in front of the temple of Queen Hatshepsut, and she was the only female pharaoh in our history. So Cleopatra was not typical Egyptian. Cleopatra had Greek origins. Hatshepsut took over the throne after the death of her husband. She had no boys. She had only one daughter. She was married to a pharaoh. His name Thutmose I, and this marriage gave no sons. Thutmose II. This marriage gave no sons, and her husband had a boy from another woman, concubine, mistress, girlfriend, whatever, and the boy was named Thutmose III, who was only 7 years old when his father died. Hatshepsut was a very powerful woman. She took over the throne and she ran Egypt for 20 years. During 20 years, she made 2 obelisks at Karnak Temple. She dug a tomb in the Valley of the Kings, not in the Valley of the Queens. She imitated men, so her figures, images, statues always showing her as a man with even the fake beard. And finally, she built this temple, which was her funeral temple. Funeral, memorial for praying after death. In ancient Egypt, my friends, locals were not allowed to see the tombs. The tombs of the pharaohs were top secret, so instead pharaohs built funeral temples so people could come later to pray on the souls of the dead kings after death. Each pharaoh had a funeral temple, but hers is unique. Hers is the only one built on 3 floors, and have got ramps and steps in the middle leading up to the second, another one's leading up to the third. The first and the third ones were very much broken, were very much restored in the last 100 years, but the middle one, particularly the extreme right side, it has the best preserved colors. This is where you see the chapel of Anubis. You know Anubis? Yeah. The jackal-headed god, the god of mummification. And this is where we're supposed to see pictures of Hatshepsut while she's praying to Anubis, making offerings to Amun, which are typical pictures. We can see it in quite many temples. But listen guys, the colors right there are phenomena, particularly the ceiling. The ceiling has very vivid blue sky and yellow stars seen painted like few weeks ago, and they are original. So good to know. We never repaint, we never recarve, okay? I'm just telling you, because once you see the colors, either here or later in the Valley of the Kings, you won't believe it, my friends. They are amazing. The 3rd floor of the temple was closed for ages. Just 20 years ago it was open after it was restored. Sorry to tell, most of it is not original. I mean, too much restoration work had been done. And there was a statue of Queen Hatshepsut in front of each pillar at the top floor. Now we can see ruins of 8 or 9 nearly near. At the end of the 3rd floor is the sanctuary of the temple, which was carved into the mountain. It's a little tiny room, had the statue of the god, which is gone, but it has beautiful colors and paints. Friends, you remember I said supposed to see her pictures? Supposed to, because after 20 years on the throne of Egypt, her 7 years old stepson became 27, and he was angry. I mean, he lost the power of his father for many years, so he destroyed her images and pictures. The temple, my friends, is mainly famous for the setting, looks carved into the mountain. In fact, it was not. It was built in front of it. It's famous as well for the design that looks like a modern building. This is the only temple built in ancient Egypt on 3 floors. Around it, caves and holes, and there were just tombs of the workers. Those who built the temple long time ago were buried next to it, Small little tiny caves, nothing inside. Around them, we had the white track led up to the top of the Valley of the Kings. Tourists used to hike it on foot or on donkeys. Not anymore. Safety and security. Down there, my friends, we have two buildings. The dark one, the mud one. To the left side, it's the tomb of Montumhat, who was the mayor of Luxor 650 BC. While the other building to the right looks like a mosque. It's not. It's a rest house for European archaeologists to stay in during the excavation work. Friends, this is typical Egypt, green and fertile for 7, 8, 10 kilometers, and then the rest of Egypt is yellow, mountains and deserts. I'm afraid to tell overpopulation is a major problem around here. 105 million, and we live on the tiny banks around the river, which is طبعا we like children since Ramesses II. Yeah, this is 200. 200. Yeah.